What is up, Steeler fans? Today we have a special guest. We have the one and only Mark Davison. You know him from Steelers Nation Australia, Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. He also has a Touchdown Under show on Behind the Steel Curtain. He'll be on today. We'll be previewing this upcoming game against the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Don't want to miss any of that, so please hit that like and subscribe button. We also have daily segments going out every day. I also have a weekly live that's going to be going out on Saturday. We're going to do two actually on Saturday. We're going to have a pregame where I do my morning Q&A, and then after the game we'll do a post-game live. So you don't want to miss those. So please ring that notification button. That being said, guys, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers, and welcome to the Huddle. Mark, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
Hey, man, I just heard through a source that apparently Mark Tomlin's on the hot seat.
Oh, yeah. That was something that I thought you might want to you might want to know before we started the show today.
Hey, man, there's no way that Mike Tomlin's on the hot seat, I tell you that. So, yeah, behind closed doors, in the green room, I was told that information by my good mate here, Daniel J, who said Mike Tomlin's on the hot seat. And I don't see it. I really do not see how he's on the hot seat. Now, even if he has a bad year this year, I still think you have a chance then next year to use Kenny Pickett if Kenny Pickett starts. So if that is a question, which is not, he's not on the hot seat. There is no hot seat. There's not even a seat at the moment. Maybe he's walking past the door where the seat might be. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
I thought I'd throw you in for a loop before I hit the record button.
Oh yeah, it's a big look. Because look, in reality too, right? Like I dead set. I'm telling you, some of the viewers watch Steelers Nation Australia and they watch Say the Steelers, right, on BTSC and all the above. I am planning to go to see Mike Tomlin's Hall of Fame, introduction. I believe he'll get there. I think he has enough, a good resume to get there in the future. And hopefully he doesn't retire for like another 10 years. And then I can go in what would that be? 2035 or something like that.
Correct. Right? I mean, when it comes to Mike Tomlin, I think the resume that he has currently right now probably puts him in the Hall of Fame. I'd anticipate that he'd have probably a pretty stout career outside of the NFL, probably broadcasting or talking football in general. And so, given the president that is Bill Cowher's induction to the Hall of Fame, I think that, when you look at Mike Tomlin's resume, it's pretty close and similar. So you would anticipate that he would probably get in as well.
That's what I'm hoping for, because I tried getting there with Troy Parlamu before the COVID stuff hit, and I had booked my $4,000, $5,000 tickets. Now we're in a different space, but I really am. That's my, I guess, big goal. Like, I want to come back to America if I can in the next few years. But if Mike Tomlin is the Pittsburgh Steelers coach for the next 5, maybe possibly pushing 10 years or 8 years, but we'll stick with 5 for a minute, right? Then I'm doing it, man. I'm saving now. I'm putting pennies aside. I'm going to go and shake Mike Tomlin's hand and say thank you, because so many Tomlin haters out there just can't stand the guy. And I do not get it. I'm at the point where I'm like, you've had your say. Now it's my say, okay? I've given you guys like 3 or 4 years. Fired Tomlin. He's the worst coach. Bill Cowher's players. He can't win a playoff game. I'm saying right now, I write on every single Steelers. If you go and see my name on Steelers Nation Australia, on every single Coach Tomlin, pretty much every single Coach Tomlin video out there, I write, Coach Mike Tomlin is a winner. You need to deal with it. So you have fired me up, mate. You fired me up. I can't handle it, mate. I really can't handle it. The guy's never had a losing season. He's over 154 wins. He's been to 3 Super Bowls. He's won 2. He's won 1 with the Steelers, and he's won 1 with, I believe, was it the Vikings?
Mm-hmm.
No, not the Buccaneers. So correct. What's your problem? Not you, but you.
Oh man, I got a lot of problems, but Tomlin ain't one. And so, I agree. I mean, I think that when you look at Tomlin's career and his resume, the only thing that, in my opinion, that probably would maybe really get Tomlin going, or making sure that his, Hall of Fame resume is stamped with a gold jacket, so to speak, is developing a a franchise quarterback. When he entered the Pittsburgh Steelers, he was given a franchise quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger was already a Super Bowl winning quarterback, was already an elite quarterback in the league and a name. And so he picked up Kenny Pickett, drafted Kenny Pickett.
Yep.
What do you think about Kenny Pickett's performance so far in this recent game against the Seattle Seahawks?
I thought it was fantastic. With Kenny Pickett, we've got to remember, like, he's still a rookie, right? At the same time, though, the guy went out there and he absolutely tore him apart. Now, some people out there are saying he only, dinked and dunked his way down the field. I don't care about that. All I care about it was he was mobile. He made the right decisions. He did get sacked twice, so it was like, welcome to the NFL moment. Like, I'm glad he got hit for the first time, and he did everything he needed to do. 12 for 15, I think 96 yards, 2 TDs. He found the open man, Jalen Warren, for a touchdown. He got the 2-point conversion with Connor Hayward, which was the exact right place to put the football. The safety was too far back. Hayward came in there, snuck in there, a bit like Heath Miller, and sat down in his route and got the 2 points. To me, it's like he may not be quarterback number one, but maybe there is a chance he could be quarterback number one. And like you said, it's Mike Tomlin's guy. Can he, go out there and win some games and hopefully playoff games in the future? But everything to me is positive. And he's only going to get better. Only going to get better. And like, people say, well, Trubisky has to start. And I can see that, but I really don't care who starts. I think he had a good preseason. And actually, all three quarterbacks had a good preseason, or the first game anyway. Everything that's been happening from training camp has transitioned into the game. And I expect that as well versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, 100%. I think the fellas are ready. I think by Big Ben finally saying "see you later," that this whole team has a new outlook and a new fresher feel.
No, I agree, and I think that that first game was just a check mark in the list of the things that Kenny Pickett has to do to eventually take over as that guy. He had to start off at the bottom just because he's a rookie. He hasn't proven anything. He hasn't played any NFL games up to this point. He hasn't been in NFL stadiums. And so I think he he marked off that check or whatnot, or how you want to say it, for the first game. And now it's to the second one. It's been reported that he's going to be having an elevated role with the Pittsburgh Steelers and play, more varsity level, to put him in where he can play more varsity level talent against him, alluding that he's at least going to be in the second team. How much time do you think that the Pittsburgh Steelers give Kenny Pickett in this game? And do you think that he's only going to be in there with the twos, maybe the ones? Where do you think he's going to be at there?
Well, let's see what he did last time, right? So he pretty much played a whole half last time, didn't he, against Seahawks?
Correct.
So if he's playing with the twos versus the Jacksonville Jaguars away, I would say, maybe Trubisky starts first. Well, there could be even to a chance that Rudolph starts first and maybe Trubisky doesn't even play. I'm not too sure how that's going to work out. But in the case of Kenny Pickett, I would probably say at least a full quarter, pushing the maybe 2 quarters, because you want to see him be successful. At the same time, you also want to see him, in a tight spot where he's like, well, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of being on the 9th, the 10-yard line? I got to drive down the field for a field goal. How do I get out of being a 3rd and 10? You want to see him go through the repetitions again. And I thought the pass to run ratio was fantastic with him. Like 15 times is great. And for me, what I'm looking forward to is can he keep the same level of success? Not that he has to go out there and be fantastic, but keep that bar higher where it was last week.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I agree. If he's gonna come out with the twos, I anticipate him being not just having an elevated role, but also a more complex play system. He was playing with the third stringers and guys that potentially aren't going to make the team, and so their complexity of the play calls that were being called was even more vanilla than what is expected in a preseason game. So I'm excited about this. I'm anticipating the Pittsburgh Steelers split up the game into twos. I think that Mitch Trubisky is going to play relatively most of the first half, maybe even all of the first half, and then Kenny Pickett coming in and playing all of the second half. I think that this may be the tune-up game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And with Mitch Trubisky, I feel that if he's going to end up being the number one guy, that the Pittsburgh Steelers need to have him get some kind of cohesiveness with his receivers and the number one offense. Last week, majority of the number one offense wasn't playing, or on the skill set side. You didn't have Pat Freiermuth, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool. They weren't in the game. So I think you need to get Mitch Trubisky with those guys in these exhibition games. But with that being said, what did you think about the running back room? How do you think that's coming along? Who do you think is taking over as that RB2?
Mate, goodbye. I think it's pretty much goodbye Benny Snell, unless Benny Snell is playing. Benny Snell needs to be out there and playing and do something. I love what Jalen Warren did, and I also love what Master Teague did too. But he got injured the other day, so hopefully he's okay. But I think this running back number 2, it looks like it's going to be McFarland or Warren. My 3 right now, if it's going to be those guys, is you have to keep Warren somehow. I made a video about it the other day. You need to keep this guy. Look, he's learning the game. Yes, he fumbled, but the way he runs the football, you can't teach that. You just can't. You can't. He runs like how Najee and James Conner falls forward. He broke off tackles. He was spinning away from guys in route. So this kind of mentality, you can't teach that mentality. A bit like the mentality that Bush won't tackle. Warren wearing number 30, and hopefully he keeps at number 2, James Conner's number, can be maybe a second or third. And look, you're not going to give him 20 carries a game, but you might give him 8 carries a game or 9 carries a game in certain situations where we need you to go down into the goal line and get a touchdown. He made that fantastic play from Pickett. Let's remember, Pickett threw his first touchdown, and that catch was over his head, and he reached out like AB over the line. This guy looks good. He's undrafted. I've only ever seen him. Look, I don't know what college he came from, and I don't really care. But I've only ever seen him play from training camp. But I'm almost at the same time too. I know we're signing a lot of players, we're letting go a lot of players, and to me, I'm just waiting to see what happens on the field. That's when I judge him, right? So to me, with Jalen Warren, it's like he had 10. I think he had 10 overall carries or receptions. I think six runs, 4 catches for about almost 50-something yards in total, or 70 yards in total. The guy can play, and you can't teach that. You can't teach that to the Snells that have been around for ages and aren't doing anything. And he fell forward every single time. And when he got touched, he still fell forward. So, and I think that was one of the another emphasis too that Matt Canada was trying to teach. And is it Eddie Faulkner, the running backs coach? I think he was trying to teach him to fall forward and get that 4 yards, because we need to be in a position where we can be 2nd and 6, or we can be 3rd and 2. And the whole game changes. I actually watched a video last night. I watched the other day. It was Big Ben's last game versus the Browns. The offense looked terrible. I go back and look at it, and I'm like, Big Ben held this offense back so much. The mobility of Pickett or Trubisky or whoever it may be, and the running game now, it's totally wide open. It feels like a normal NFL offense, right? And if you're going to have a running back there, Najee Harris hasn't even been. Oh man, Najee Harris hasn't even played yet. You know what I'm saying? And if you can have someone who, and even Anthony McFarland, I think he needs to make the team too. He'll get better. It's one game, I get it. But the way he was cutting the football and the line stopped, he cut to the right, cut to the left, and he was away. So to me, there's a lot of pressure on Snell because your time is almost up, really.
Right. No, yeah, I agree. I mean, one of the big things about Benny Snell is that's kept him on the team, so to speak, is his special teams abilities. And Jalen Warren had a special teams tackle after he got the touchdown pass. McFarland was returning kicks and stuff like that. And so I see that there might be a transition away from Benny Snell. And how many running backs do you see the Steelers keeping
in total?
Including, do you think they keep Derek Watt also? I'm including Derek Watt.
That's the big question. Look, I know from our previous podcast we did on BTSC, we talked about this too. And I think in some of the comments I got a bit of slack because I was like, well, Watt does great special teams, and I get that, right? But who else? You can go out there and tackle. So it really depends what happens with Watt, where they're going to use Watt. In my opinion, if you're not going to use Watt on the offense, then see you later, mate. We'll find somebody else to be a captain on the special teams who can go and make the tackles, like a Connor Haywood or a Warren, right? Mm-hmm. Get those guys making tackles because you have a better – if they can – okay, here it is. If those fellas can do the exact same job, if not better, on special teams, make the tackles, run down the field, and have a big influence on special teams, but they do a better job on the offense, who would you not want? Right? Wouldn't you want a running back number 2? What? I really don't know what to say with what. I really have no idea. What fan does really, and this is probably a harder notion to stick up for what than it is for, I guess to fire Rudolph and whatnot. It's like no one knows what he does. No one. He's like
Right.
Barney, mate. You know Barney from How I Met Your Mother. No one knew what he did.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, no, I agree. Watt is going to be he's a question mark. He needs to get back on the field. He's been injured here as of late. He almost reports that he was doing some sprints on the sidelines earlier yesterday. And so that's a positive thing. We need to see him on the field and see what he can do with the lineup and the offense. But, with Najee Harris being a bell cow type running back, carrying so many running backs seems kind of almost pointless, because the Steelers are going to give him his touches. But going to the other side of the ball, and you kind of highlighted Bush. How concerned are you with Devin Bush and that middle linebacker position, or is there a position on the defense that you're more concerned about?
You know what's funny, man? I don't need to be concerned about Devin Bush because half of Steeler Nation is just absolutely livid about the guys. Just I don't like it either. I really don't. But it's like it's to the point with Devin Bush. It's not even to do with the talent anymore. Do you want to play football? Because what I see on the field is I don't think you want to play football. I really don't. I've just the last year we kind of saw it. Every time he was involved in tackles, he was third or fourth guy there. He didn't want to be involved. Him and Shobit were just looking at players. It wasn't the same. Now, this year in preseason, I get it's preseason, but DeMonte Kazi's going out there and making tackles. Other fellas are in there making tackles, and Devin Bush didn't make one tackle. Apparently, he made a few half tackles, but still, I'm not that worried. But I just think something needs to change, right? If you're going to have Miles Jack there and be possibly an all-pro, and even in his, 2 drives, he made 2 tackles, one for a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does Devin Bush want? What does he want?
Right. And so my concerns with Devin Bush, more so than his play, which is concerning on its own, is the fact that he's the green dot guy. I'm not sure if you had picked that up. He was the green dot. He was the guy who's calling the plays. He's the leader of that defense in that aspect. He's the quarterback of the defense. And when you have that type of mindset, I think that can be kind of toxic, in my opinion. But in my opinion, more so important is the outside linebacker position. Alex Highsmith has been dealing with an injury. TJ Watt, he's going to be there. But outside of those guys, Derek Tuska is the front runner. How comfortable are you with the outside linebacker position?
Man, that's exactly the same. So I'm looking right now too. We have Watt, Highsmith, Derek Tuska there. He's probably the leader. Now, I don't think Jannard Avery played last week, did he? I don't think we saw him.
He's been nursing an injury, from what I understand. So I'm not sure if he played. I don't think he did, because I remember seeing number 50, which is Scott.
Yeah, you know what? I remember seeing 50 a little bit. I thought he played okay from what I remember. But we had the other guy too, and even looking back from memory, I don't know these guys from a bar or so, but I remember seeing in there, we signed another outside linebacker, James Vorders, whoever that guy is. But I remember seeing in there Hamilcar, Rashid. But these guys aren't anything special. We probably do need 1 or 2 guys that can be special, because Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt can't do everything by themselves as much as TJ Watt can. But who's that guy behind that, when it's third and 8 and TJ Watt's off the field for some reason, he's played about 45 snaps. Who's a guy to fill in for a little bit, to at least pass rush a tiny bit? And I don't know who that's going to be. So maybe in this Jags game, that is something to look forward to. If it's Jannard Avery, if he plays, if it's Delonte Scott, number 50, someone needs to step up in that role, because we do have Brian Flores teaching the fellas, the linebackers or middle linebackers how to play. But right now, you got Devin Bush, who doesn't want to play. That it looks like to us. And in his mind, maybe he does, right? Maybe we don't know. But to a lot of Steeler fans, it looks like, it's whatever. What did he say? What did he say the other day?
Then when he was asked if, what he felt about this being his last chance to be a Steeler, and if he expects to be a Steeler next year. And his response was something like, well, it is a business and he'll still be in the NFL, so we'll see.
Now, why does he have the mentality that he thinks he's going to be in the NFL? That mentality will get you shot in any business.
Mm-hmm.
That mentality will get you absolutely done and dusted in any sport you play, any job you go to. Thinking you're safe is not a good thing.
No, and so my concern with it is the potential toxicity with that type of mindset. I mean, that isn't what Mike Tomlin sells. He doesn't sell, swimming in the comfort of your accomplishments, which, knowing that he's going to be in the NFL. Or before, the one comment that really bugged me the most was saying that he's always going to be a top 10 pick, and you can never take that away from him. That told me that he's swimming in his accomplishments, and that's not what Mike Tomlin, preaches. And so he's not buying what Coach T is selling. And so that is more of a concern to me as far as will he become a toxic person in the locker room? The question marks about him are going to be delivered to the other players on the defense. So then he's going to be a distraction. It could lead a slippery slope down a bad path, in my opinion. But no, I'm absolutely concerned about that outside linebacker position as well. That's one that I've been harping on. I'm hoping that the Pittsburgh Steelers make a Joe Hayden type move once all the cuts come down, and maybe perhaps somebody comes out, free agency right before the season starts in that position, because who the Pittsburgh Steelers have right now is a huge concern.
Well, it's not over, right? So there's been a lot of cuts. There's going to be a lot of veterans who are going to get cut. Other teams won't want to pay certain guys, so maybe there was going to be a big spark and someone's going to come into the locker room, if that is a middle linebacker. This team, what we see right now, will not be the same team that we see versus the Bengals in about a month's time. Even to a certain extent, the same team we see in four weeks after that. So I'm a bit worried too. I'm a bit worried about the mentality and just the attitude. It's like, yeah, basically, I will be in the NFL next year. What makes you think you will be? Okay. Does this guy want to go out and win a game for Pittsburgh? Does he want to win a game? Does he want to win a Super Bowl? TJ Watt was on the Pivot podcast the other day, and I think he talked about how he's still pretty much fired up, how he wants to be, go out there and be the best, and how his brother's not getting the respect, and he wants to be better than his brother. So where's I get you're getting millions of dollars, but where's the passion, man? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where is it? Where it's not there. Even if, right? Why not? Look, I'm not saying you have to tell a big fib or a lie, but just answer the question better. You know what I'm saying? And you wouldn't get any of this mess. You wouldn't get any of this. You'd be like, oh, I'm working hard every day. I'm really trying to get better at my craft, and I really want to be, if I can. We'll see what happens, but I really want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. I love this organization. I can't wait to go out there and give it my all. And I know I've gone through a tough time with coming into the process, but, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. He just says, what did he say again? Like, oh, I'll be somewhere.
Yeah, he'll be in the NFL.
Just get out of here, mate. I would rather no skill and passion than 100% skill and no passion. And he hasn't even got skill, right? He's lost his skill as well.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. It's one thing to say this and have these types of opinions, but also perform in the manner that he has here recently and all of last year for the most part.
Exactly.
So it's winning will change things, and winning can fix all things. So if he can go out there and be a reason for the Pittsburgh Steelers to be a successful team and a winning team, then of course, then all this stuff's going to kind of just fade away. But if he continues to perform in the same level, and maybe Robert Spillane starts taking some of his snaps, and then this is going to be a huge question mark, and then he's going to start getting the label of a bust. And that's not good. That's not good, especially for the draft capital that the Pittsburgh Steelers gave up for him. And so with that being said, Mark, I'm going to ask you one last question, and then let everybody know where they can find you at, and we'll let everybody go at that point. So my question for you is, give us a score prediction on this upcoming Saturday's game, Jacksonville Jaguars and Pittsburgh Steelers.
I really hope they go out in there and smash them, because I don't think Jacksonville is a good team. I think they struggle. I think they struggle at quarterback, even though they've got Trevor Lawrence. Depending if they'll play some, is it Travis Etienne? I don't know if he'll play out that way, but they're playing at home. I think this is a more improvement. If the defense if the ones and twos play a bit longer in this game, maybe a quarter, I don't think they'll score points. The Jaguars will score any points. So if they can hold Trevor Lawrence to 0 to 3 points, then there's a big chance that we can hold them, below 20. So I'm going to say like 27-13, maybe.
Good deal.
Because we're going to score touchdowns. They showed it last week. Trubisky scored 1, Pickett scored 2, and he scored 2, right? Yeah, he scored 2.
Kenny Pickett scored 2.
Yeah, it scored 4 touchdowns. So we're going to score something. So Steelers got points in them. Jags don't. I think we win that game.
I agree. I'm thinking something kind of similar, maybe a little bit higher for the Steelers offense. This is, if you go by the same pattern as last season, the second preseason game or this preseason game was the Steelers tune-up game. And so I'm anticipating seeing the starters for a little bit longer, and also Kenny Pickett in there a little bit longer with the twos. So I do anticipate this being a little bit more higher scoring for the Pittsburgh Steelers, somewhere around that 28, maybe 31, somewhere around there, to around 17-13 as well. So with that being said, Mark, let everybody know where they can find you at.
Yeah, so the best thing is I do have Twitter and stuff like that, but the best thing is, of course, I'm on YouTube. So type in Steelers Nation Australia. You'll see me there. I'm on about 587 subs, having a fantastic time. Do a lot of videos the same as Stay the Steelers here, Daniel. Love talking about the Steelers pretty much every day I can. And we're in the thick of it. We are going to have a good season. The Steelers are going to go off this year. We are counted again. So check us out on YouTube. I don't use Twitter that much. I really don't understand it, but that's, I guess, probably the biggest thing that I'm on. And of course, BTSC, and another platform I work for is Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. So you'll see me all over the shop, and a lot of guys, follow us on both, and we're having a good time.
Awesome. Sounds good. In fact, I'll have your counterpart from the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate, Pittsburgh, going on my show next week, talking about this upcoming and reviewing the past game. So excited to have him on, and very thankful and grateful for you joining us today. With that being said, guys, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers. Peace.